What's up guys, Everything Apple Pro here, and I've been waiting for this moment for quite some time. In this video, I'll be putting face-to-face Apple's iPhone X and Samsung's Galaxy S9 Plus in an ultimate speed comparison showdown. So we're going to be testing which one is faster, in which ways, day-to-day usage, actually launching apps, the benchmarks, everything you need to know. And what makes this particularly interesting is that this is the first smartphone that gets to use the Snapdragon 845 chip, and that's the first chip that comes even close to what Apple's putting out on the market right now with the Apple A11. Everyone else can't even come close. So let's see how close Qualcomm got to Apple's performance with the Snapdragon 845. Now do take note, there is an Exynos version as well, which is for other markets. Here in America, we will not be receiving it, and it's even more powerful than what you're seeing here. So I'll have a video up on that shortly. But let's go ahead and do this. I've been waiting far too long. These are the official specs. This is a octa-core processor, 2.7 gigahertz clock speed for the high-end cores, 1.7 for the low-end cores. So pretty close, 6-core versus 8-core. And this is the current record sheet right now. For some reason, the iPhone 7 Plus is the reigning champion and OnePlus 5 for round 2. Let's see if this guy can beat it. So as usual, we will start with a real-world usage test. This is simulating basically your day-to-day usage on a smartphone. We'll be opening things up such as web-based apps like Snapchat, Instagram, to games and other things. So at this point in time, we are pretty evenly matched. We just started, but the S9 is showing that it is quite the powerful contender. It also has very short animations, and that gives it the effect of being very fast as well. So the iPhone X powers through editing an 8K image and exporting it. The S9 was a little bit slower there. And going into Minecraft, you can see that the iPhone X loads it pretty quickly. It is also optimized for the display of the iPhone X. Not sure if that would affect the S9's performance here. And do take note that the results you're seeing here may change with time. Maybe I'll retest it in a few months because the S9 is fresh and all these apps may not have been updated to support it natively with the Snapdragon 845, so that could change. Not to mention it's using a brand new version of Android 8.0, so that could be something to consider as well. So we're on asphalt already, and the iPhone X is just powering through it. Now we're going to the web-based apps, Netflix, and back to a game to shock the system up. So Grand Theft Auto San Andreas hasn't been updated in a while, so I may change this app out with a different one in the future, but it is a pretty heavy one, and both load them incredibly fast. For something that I was running on a PS2 years ago, I'm running it on my phone incredibly fast. And this is something that bothers me about the iPhone. When you're using apps in landscape, you never know where the touch bar is going to be. I like that you can just click on the bottom of the S9 and go home. But okay, we're wrapping this test up now. We're already on Amazon at both, and it's really crazy to see that both of these are at the same spot. I have never had this with any other smartphone. The first round is going to be very close, but we're getting to the part that's usually killer for the Android phones, and that's actually encoding a 4K video and exporting it. So this is where the iPhone's A11 processor shines. I mean, it just tears through it. And this is the very same application on both, very same video, a minute 30 4K. And the iPhone X seemed to be just a little bit faster here. So going into the stopwatch, we've got a 2 minute and 55-second first round, which is very impressive until you start loading those apps in the very beginning. Because of the heavy processing we were doing with the export of the 4K video, the iPhone forgot all about them, completely refreshed your spot in them, so you have to spend time waiting for the app to load again. Meanwhile, the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus is breezing through them. Samsung gave it 6 gigabytes of RAM, that's 2 over the last version, and this was a problem that the old S8 had. No longer is that an issue with the Galaxy S9 Plus, as with those additional 2 gigabytes of RAM, you are able to get into the spot of all of those apps even after exporting a 4K video. That is impressive. Now, I'm not sure if this is something that Apple can fix with a software update or if this is just a hardware limitation with the 3 gigabytes of RAM, but if you use a lot of apps, it might bother you that some of the older ones that you haven't used in a little while will refresh quite often in comparison to the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. And as a result of those 3 additional gigabytes of RAM, the S9 Plus is done with round 2 at 44 seconds. Meanwhile, the iPhone X, you can see where the apps stopped being reloaded, as all of the apps past Netflix had their positions saved, they weren't reloaded. So that came in with a 1 minute and 10-second round 2. Wow, this is close. The S9 beat it in lap 2, but the iPhone had a 10-second advantage over lap 1. Wow, Samsung, seriously, good job. I did not expect those results from Samsung Galaxy S9, and it has blown me away. So let's do some more technical tests. We're gonna do a startup and then launch apps side by side and go on from there. So let's go ahead and turn these off. And this test is really not that important, but I like to throw it in here anyways. So starting up in 3, 2, 1. And they should be off. So this is basically Android versus iOS startup test, and depending on which version you're running, it's going to be a little bit different. I know iOS 11.2 and up actually turns on a lot faster than before, so really just depends on the version you're running. But in this case, oh, the iPhone 10 actually did turn on faster. It's the carrier screen on this guy that kind of made it stumble. So depending on which carrier you have, you will have a slightly different result on the S9. But that test doesn't really matter. Both were really close and really fast. So let's go ahead and do some app launching side by side with the app switchers cleared. And advantage here is you can just clear it with one button. Here you literally got to swipe it up all by yourself. So super annoying. But anyways, with these side by side, let's just launch them. Starting with Snapchat in 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone actually seems to have that one open faster. Instagram 1, 2. This is web-based. Wow, this guy had it loaded faster. The S9, the actual stock camera app 1, 2. And the iPhone 10 had that one loaded and ready to take a picture a little bit faster with the focus. Google Maps, the S9's home territory 1, 2, 3. Definitely faster on that guy as well. Photoshop Express 1, 2. And we're gonna load that 8K image real quick. All right, so with the export settings, 2, and the iPhone actually handled that one a little bit faster. And moving on to Minecraft, 1, 2. There's a delay on the S9, but did load it faster considerably. Cool. Let's actually load the world here, 1, 2. And S9 had that one up and running a little bit faster. Let's go to Asphalt 8. It's actually a really heavy and big game, so with a lot of web elements here. Man, this guy is really impressing me. Yeah, faster here too. Cool. And Netflix web-based 1, 2. Oh, about the same there. And Spotify, so another web-based one loaded faster on the S9. Very impressive. Yelp 1, 2. And web-based apps seem to load faster on the S9. Now, it's pretty impressive here that this thing does so well. You know, I'm very shocked at how fast it opens things and all around how it handles itself. The only reason the iPhone 10 even won round 1 was because of the export speed with 4K. The encoding must be somewhat better using the A11 processor. With the native browsers, let's go ahead and visit apple.com, 1, 2, 3. And the iPhone, as that is its native territory here. And returning the favor, samsung.com, 1, 2, 3. And of course, the Samsung loads that one first. Wow, why is that taking so long? They're connected to the very same network here on both. There we go, 1, 2, 3. And so the iPhone 10 was presented a little bit faster. So there's the browser results. Now let's get technical and actually get some numbers by running Geekbenches. Okay, definitely was not expecting a score this low on the Samsung Galaxy S9. The leaked Geekbenches before it was even released were actually much higher using the same processor. So I don't know what gives. I'll clear the app switcher and rerun it because a 1732 single core score is ridiculous on this phone. I think that's slower than the S8 possibly even. So something's going on here. Let me rerun that real quick. All right, so that's more like it when it comes to the single core score, but still almost half of the score of Apple's iPhone 10. Now, I'm not sure if something's wrong or what, but this is not the score I was expecting out of this phone, but still an improvement over the S8, even though not by much. The multi-core score is definitely an improvement over the S8, but the Exynos version of this phone will have an even higher one. All right, so let's go ahead and run an Antutu benchmark real quick, get a feel for the GPU performance. Wow, what a monster. 258,726 Antutu score versus 191,000 on the iPhone 10. So this combines several things together and gives you a total result. But the CPU performance of the octa-core definitely outperformed this guy on the iPhone 10. And next up, let's go ahead and test the Wi-Fi speed. So I do have gigabit. Let's see which one is capable of Wi-Fi speeds up to a gigabit or faster. Really not sure why I'm getting such a slow result, but only 112 megabit download speed versus 482 on the Samsung Galaxy S9. Pretty much the same upload speed. That's really impressive. This thing has some crazy internals when it comes to wireless. It's also capable of 1.2 gigabit download LTE. This one only around 600, so definitely more evolved there. All right, last thing to test is biometrics. Now this definitely is not easy to do. I have to look at both of them at the same time, so bear with me here. On the S9, we have iris scanning and facial scanning. On the iPhone 10, it's just facial scanning, but it's actually more secure as it's actually scanning more IR dots on your face. So in any case, let's go ahead and try this. 3, 2, 1. I have to swipe up. Oh, wow. That is so much faster on the S9. Once again, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the animation on the iPhone 10 kills it. That's crazy. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Okay, so no question, the Samsung Galaxy S9's facial scanning feature on lock is actually faster. Now let's try it with the fingerprint sensor here. All right, so putting both to sleep here, and I'm gonna try and do this as evenly as possible. 3, 2, 1. Wow, that is in another realm. That's crazy. So once again, Face ID versus fingerprint sensor, 3, 2, 1. That is ridiculous. That is so much faster than any facial scanning feature. All right, guys, so there it is, the Samsung Galaxy S9 versus the iPhone 10 in an ultimate showdown of speed. And I gotta give it to Samsung. Wow, they built this thing amazingly. It is fast. And of course, to Qualcomm, who's providing the processor on this version, it surpassed my expectations for this phone and even surpassed the iPhone 10 in many ways. Mostly, the gap was bridged between these two in terms of performance. Now, the iPhone 10 still has the clear advantage of actually having more raw CPU power, although this one seems to utilize it a little bit better. And the fact that it has more RAM is definitely a big plus when it comes to reloading old applications. You don't have to reload them. They're already still there. Also, this thing seems to launch most apps a little bit faster. In day-to-day usage, it seems like I'd appreciate the S9's speed a little bit more. Otherwise, they are very, very close. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with either one because of how close they are in terms of speed. Certainly, neither one of these is slow by any standard. So thanks so much for watching, guys. There is the Snapdragon 845 version. Stay tuned for the Exynos one. That one should be interesting. Peace.